My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. When I was in Rome some years ago, I happened to be in the first Mass after the election of Pope Benedict. And the just elected Pope, in his homily, said something that stuck into my mind till today. The world, is a quote, the world is redeemed by the patience of God and is destroyed by the impatience of men. And I was wondering, Jesus, it looks like patience is a big deal for Pope Benedict. And it's exactly what happens when we read the Gospel of today, what happens in our souls, thinking about the combination between your grace, your desires of making me your friend and to make me a better person, and then the connection between that grace and my personal freedom. My personal freedom, which is a treasure, which is something wonderful, but it's like a double-edged sword that can be used for all the greatest in the world and also for all the bad things that I can imagine. And the Gospel says that there was one person who had a fig tree planted in his orchard. And when he came in search of fruit on it, but found none, he said to the gardener, "For 3 years now I have come in search of fruit on this fig tree, but have found none. So cut it down. Why should I exhaust the soil?" And the gardener, and we can see a lot of experience there, a lot of wisdom, said in reply, "Sir, leave it for this year also, and I shall cultivate the ground around it and fertilize it. It may bear fruit in the future." And we can imagine you, my Lord, taking care of that soil. And what is that soil? That soil is my soul, is my heart. And in this dialogue between you and maybe God the Father, or maybe between you and myself with my sometimes discouragement, I can see how you count on the freedom to develop, on my personal freedom to develop, little by little. And with a divine patience, you're accompanying me in this process. And you're telling me, I don't care about results. I don't care about immediate fruits. What I do care is about your effort to try to get better. And I really appreciate your patience, Jesus. Your way of doing things respecting human development, human limitations, and the graduality of my perfection. And you are accompanying me during the whole process, not only when I get to do something great, or when I think that I'm doing something great, but also when I don't see anything clear and I try. I was listening the other day to the radio while driving, and they put this song by Chainsmokers. It's a band that I think is pretty famous. And one moment in the song, there's something that I think can apply to our spiritual life, because it says, it's a guy talking to himself, meditating about the great ideals that he reads in the books of history and legends and myths. And then he says, and clearly, I don't see myself upon that list. But the answer during the song comes from another person saying, I'm not looking for somebody with some superhuman gifts, some superhero, some fairy tale bliss, just someone I can turn to. And this is maybe applicable to my interior life. Pope Benedict said the patience is key if you want to get to know Jesus, if you want to get closer to him. You cannot force the growth of a tree. You cannot kind of stretch the branches artificially. You need to wait. And I want to wait, Jesus, through my prayer, through my perseverance in prayer, I can develop. And that's the only way. And Pope Francis says something similar. There is no perfect family. We don't have perfect parents. We are not perfect. We don't get married to the perfect person, nor do we have perfect kids. And I want to stop here for a second and say, well, and now what? In other words, we live in an imperfect world. And what's the answer for that imperfection? To get upset? To get anxious? To give up? Now the answer is, I shall cultivate the ground around it. I shall keep going. I shall be more humble, maybe. And I will not be obsessed with a kind of a immediate satisfaction, not even spiritually speaking. Only God knows the exact fruit of the saints. Many of them didn't see any result during years. There's a fable of a man who used to carry water from the well in 2 jars. And in the fable, the jars were tied to a stick that the man carried on his shoulders, 1 jar on each end. And one of the jars was old, and although its cracks had been repaired, it was leaking water all the way. And every day when the man arrived home, this jar was empty. And the old jar felt useless and was sad, and told the man, "Leave it, I'm useless. Why do you insist on taking me all the way to the well and back if I can't retain water? I'm useless. Stop. Just why are you trying?" And the man took the old crock back to the well and said, Look at the path. Do you see? There are plenty of flowers on one side, but none on the other. Those flowers exist because of you. That is why I take you with me every day." Wonderful, right? The path of our holiness has fruits that are unseen. And not only externally, but especially in your heart. In my heart, Jesus, there are many fruits unseen even to myself. And I want to believe that your grace is transforming me, transforming everything I do, everything I touch. And precisely the days that I feel more useless, and I continue, I persevere with love, with abandonment, you're taking into account those struggles, those moments of darkness, and precisely because I'm being generous there, precisely because I believe, you are using that effort to bring light to the world. Jesus, looking at the saints, I find inspiration. Mother Teresa of Calcutta, for 40 years experiencing what it is called the dark night of the soul. No human consolations, no good feelings, and she persevered. John Paul II dying out of Parkinson, like a little old grandpa, squeezed like a lemon, saying thank you, saying I'm here to serve you, I'm in darkness, but I want to persevere. And many others that didn't see the results of their actions or even the results of their prayers. Moses, for example, not getting to the promised land. And still, full of peace, abandoning everything in your hands, thinking about the future generation, thinking about fruits not sin in their souls and in the world. They are inspiring because they persevered, not because they were perfect. Help me to understand this, Jesus, very well. Jesus, you are a gardener. You are the best gardener in history. And you want to take care of my soul. You want to take care of my heart. And I really appreciate the smile that I always find in your face, and your encouragement and your company. Your company is what gives me peace and strength to continue. Thank you very much for being by my side. And thank you also for your mother and Saint Joseph, and all the saints and angels that are accompanying me every single day of my life. I thank you, my Lord, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.